Why you should play Stun. So today we're going to be talking about Stun and why you should play Stun. So first off, Stun is one of the most consistent strategies that are available, and also hand traps are not very effective against Stun, with the exception of specifically more or less just infinite impermanence, and there should be just about zero other hand traps, I suppose, unless you can run over one of these guys with Max C or something, or some other hand trap, but alas, you cannot. Except maybe Skullmeister. Not that Skullmeister particularly does anything. I don't think. Yeah, I guess Skullmeister can actually run over these guys, but no one plays Skullmeister, so we're fine in that regard. So the consistency here is completely ridiculous. So if we go ahead and draw 5 sample cards, full combo is any card with a single floodgate. So in this case, we have essentially 3 floodgates. And if we don't like Barrier Statue, we could grab Fossil Dyna as well. And if your opponent does not have a normal summon that can beat over this, they can't win, essentially. It is now pretty impossible. And it becomes more impossible over time and depending on exactly what kind of hand you produce. So if we go with another hand, now we have Decisive Battle and also Necrovelli. I haven't really fitted out the extra deck here, but you can also use this to run Dogmatics in your main deck, and also targets for things in the extra deck like Garura. You can also run Super Poly. You have options for going first and going second, board breaking, and also for other things. With Super Poly, it's also disruption potentially. If your opponent is able to maybe temporarily turn off some of your floodgates. So in this case, maybe Imperm on Fossil Dyna, then I can still Super Poly. And we're good in that regard. And just any hand with a single floodgate is combo. So in this case, we have 2, and this is pretty hard to deal with. So Necrovelli, preventing you from activating essentially card effects in the graveyard, kinda. And then we have Barrier Statue, so nothing can be special summoned except water monsters, and then we combine the 2, and then Clockwork Knights. So now to just trade with Barrier Statue of the Torrents, you need to be able to special summon a 2k attack monster just to crash. Otherwise, you would need to be 2.1k or above, I suppose, because Clockwork Knight makes your cards essentially, you can think of it as 1k attack higher. So we're at 2k. If 2k original attack to be able to be over the Barrier Statue that started out at 1k. And then we actually have Decisive Battle of Golgana, so that was never actually an option in the first place. And also this protects our back row at the same time, so seriously, good luck against this hand. Yeah, that's not great. Okay, so here, same thing as before, but now we get to draw 2 cards off of Desires. So now we also have Tikaboo, second Barrier Statue of the Drought to kind of make the lethal perhaps go a little bit faster, or not. And also, it depends on how you want to run it exactly, but if we're running a Solemn, it just trades 1 for 1. At worst, it can trade for normal summons, it can do a whole lot. It prevents your opponent from essentially being able to do anything. Like, if they had options, they now no longer have options with Solemn. That describes Solemn pretty much. Yep, that's Solemn for you. And here, this hand's pretty nasty as well. I guess it would be normal summon Inspector Porter, and then you wouldn't be able to even activate an Eldlik in the hand. And you can tell Stun is one of the strongest strategies in the game, because this is probably the deck with the most hits in Master Duel to begin with. And even after all of these hits, Stun is still relevant, alive, fresh, and kicking, and there are various ways to play. And you have just options for going first and second, and it just depends on the build. It varies a little bit, but yeah. If we just go ahead and look, though, we have just in our list right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hits. 10 hits right here, and there technically probably a few more, but they're not being played in this particular list. Like Demise, I think it was called, right? or something like that. Whatever that draw 3 or 5 or whatever that card was, that card was dumb. What was it called? I just genuinely don't remember. But yeah, that card, gross. So next up, we have Runic Stun, I guess. So it's basically like Stun, but you have the Runic cards. So with the Runic cards, you can then normal summon either you could do technically like Vanity's Ruler, Vanity's Fiend, or cards similar to this. And after you normal summon this, of course, your opponent gets just kind of cooked. And instead of Vanity's Fiend, I believe there's one more guy with a similar-ish like effect. Don't remember his name, but you normal summon that guy. Monster effects cannot be activated, I believe, is what that effect was. But yeah, one of the most powerful decks for a reason if we were to compare it with Tearlaments. How many hits does Tearlaments have? Tearlaments doesn't have double-digit hits, I'll let you know that much. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that would be Perlarino Band, Merly Band, and also Shirin here, right? So if we include all of that, still not as much as Stun, right? And if you were to, for some reason, include like Foolish Burial Goods and Instant Fusion, and just to say, well, they are generic cards, so Tearlament does benefit off of them, but yeah, there's still not enough hits to catch up to Stun in terms of hits, right? So it is very apparent to see Stun, one of the strongest strategies, most consistent strategies, and also somewhat unfair because it is so strong. So if I were to just do, let's say, normal summon Fossil Dyna, then equip it with Moonmere Shield, I would still have, depending on if I open like Extrav or Desires, I would then have, in this case, after this, I would have 4 more cards, and if one of them was a Solemn, that would remove whatever counterplay you might have had. So you would need 2 outs, which are commonly not going to be main decked. So maybe you have Moonmere Shield, and that would do it. Maybe you have a really powerful normal summon that happens to do it, like normal summon DD Warrior Lady, perhaps. Then you'd be able to out the board, but alas, you just cannot, because Solemn Judgment on DD Warrior Lady, and then you'll have to top deck another DD Warrior Lady, but the odds of you top decking like a Warrior Lady when I have draw, like with Time Tearing Morganite, I'm much more likely to draw another Solemn before, or a Solemn Light card before you're able to draw any sort of out. And outs in the main deck are very low, so a lot of decks run maybe a 1 of Duster or 0 Duster. And this is for consistency reasons, and that you're really hoping to go first with your going first strategy, so you're not really going ahead and putting in going second cards and all that. But because of that, Stun is even stronger in particularly Master Duels format versus, for example, OCG or TCG, where you might have side decking. Because if you want access to main deck backer removal, you have to simply put it in your main deck. You cannot put it in your side deck. So essentially, if you don't build exactly for Stun, you will essentially just lose to Stun every single time you lose the coin flip. And there is nothing you can even activate that will change the outcome. There's no gameplay because you're not able to activate your cards. And if you were able to, for example, activate your cards, they don't either do nothing, or if they were actually impactful, they're not resolving. Plain and simple. You probably have like 2 effects you can even activate, if at all. And with those effects, we can just hit you up with a Solemn. And also, of course, reminder, the consistency for this deck is unmatched. So this is like an exception, really, because I didn't build the deck fully. Well, yeah, I didn't build the deck completely. What's the word I'm looking for here? It's not 100% optimized, but once you do optimize, think of it this way. If I'm running 46, or not 46, if I am running 36 Floodgates, no matter what hand my deck is producing, I will always open one floodgate, and one floodgate is essentially full combo. And the other 4 cards that you'd want to be running, they could be just draw power, right? And because they're just draw power, they'll also translate into floodgates. So the consistency is ridiculously high. And you know what? Clockwork Knight, this can actually floodgate out Cybers. So this hand, completely just winning against Cybers, turning all of their guys into machines. So well, we take these. And I guess reworking the ratios might be necessary a little bit here. I think we're running too many copies of Decisive Battle. And that's probably the big thing here, right? Yeah. But yep. Hella combo, hella combo, hella combo. Pretty much every hand is going to be full combo, and there's not much you can do about it unless you have not only a main deck duster, but you open your like one of main deck duster. And here is the problem. So if you were playing this back row removal, what if your opponent is just playing a deck that doesn't use back row? So for example, if we go to the earlier stages of Master Duel, or I guess the earlier formats of Master Duel, if you were to make or do a Hulk combo, it has no back row involved, so nothing to even duster. Literally nothing. Like your opponent will not even flinch if you have a duster, right? It's either not activatable or it's trading 1 for 1 for infinite impermanence, which is not going to do you that much. I mean, at least you don't have to deal with the imperm, but you could have had something else, right? Like, for example, you could have had, I don't know, but let's see, an effect failure, ghost spell, just whatever to stop the combo, right? There were plenty of cards, like, you could have even played, like, maybe, um, I don't know, Pontac C, and that could have done it back in the day, and it would have been better than a duster in a lot of cases. So your opponent is actually also at the same time incentivized not to play back row removal in the game, which makes the game still more free for you. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.